there, you bloody lovely people. Welcome to part 2 of our coverage for The Crown of Gilded Bones.
Here we go.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Rachel.
And these books continue to evolve in ways we simply could never have seen coming. And speaking also just for us, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
The first half was definitely a wild ride. Poppy is the queen of the Wolven. Can we just and she's on her way to being queen of Atlantia. So she's got titles. She's got titles for days. And we'll soon jump into that. I'm still thinking of all of the yummy shower sex. Okay. And we need more of that. But unfortunately, there's a shit ton of other shit that needs attention, like making Poppy queen.
Speaking of becoming queen, we ourselves are glammed up with our crowns in honor of our favorite FMC's coronation that will be happening in the second half of this book. And yay. Speaking of the second half of this book, not really going into spoilers just yet, but the end of this book. I have never felt so hype, devastated, and scared all at the same time after a book. We will unpack it as we go, but it was just, even rereading it this time, which was pretty much just reading it for the first time again, honestly. There was just so much I forgot that ending it where we do and knowing where we have to go from here, I'm like...
it's a different type of cliffhanger, really.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And we can't say anything else without spoiling our own episode. So we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna have so much to talk about at the end of this episode. But before we jump into all of it, you might notice a few new things. So I've finally changed up my background, so it's so much more interesting than you looking at my barren closet wall. And also, the lovely Rachel has started to do our thumbnails for YouTube, and they look beautiful.
We're growing up.
They are gorgeous. We are bit by bit, week by week, finding, what we want to improve on, what we want to put some more effort into, and we just throw ourselves at it. And I love that for us. And it's been so freaking exciting. And honestly, thank you to my husband for letting me honestly destroy the office, the flow of our office, because now it is just kind of a mess. But he supports me, so thanks. And so Rachel, you've been killing it. I've been killing it.
You've been killing it.
We've
both been killing it.
We're just both killing it.
Poppy's killing it.
Poppy's killing it, gonna continue killing it. And, so on that note, let us find out just how much killing she's about to go and do. We are picking up in chapter 25. Cass and Poppy this is also after the whole beach scene. The beach scene. And they are briefly, discussing Poppy's abilities, that she was essentially able to bring that little girl from the last episode back to life. She is wondering if there will come a time when she actually won't want to save someone, which is a very dark thought to have, considering that all of her life she has only ever wanted to use her gifts to heal people and save people. And they go to meet with Cass's parents, finally, after all of this, delay and pushback and interference. They also meet Kira, who is Kieran's mother, and she is pregnant with Kieran's soon-to-be little sibling. Aww. And it's worth mentioning. So sweet. This is also at their home. So Kieran and Kira are knitting together. Little mother-son bonding knitting time, and it's so cute.
It is.
Of course they tease him a little bit, but...
Yeah. And it's also described, I think it's at this part that they kind of elaborate on Wolven pregnancy, and it's described as really intense.
Yeah.
It's
they go through it.
Yeah. It's kind of... So reading that, I was like, damn, I thought I had it bad.
And they also you'll find out as we go through this book, but like Kira is constantly on the move. She is
Always,
up
yeah.
until like there's a point in this book where she's like, "Oh no, I'm coming on the road with you," or it was Karen's dad, Jasper. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go with you," and they're like, "But what about your wife? Like, she's about to have a baby," and she's like, "I got another week."
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I've never been pregnant, but like, I'm sure I wouldn't want to be moving around.
Well, and in my case, I worked up until like a week before my due date. Women are so fucking resilient. Just got
Fucking superheroes.
Fucking superheroes.
They have some bonding time at Kira's house, and it's really cute. And then they eventually leave and head to the stables, and they officially meet Lyra, not Lyra's silhouette on the beach, who is also going to be, and she's going to also be escorting them along with Kieran. And we see like there's a little something with Kieran and Lyra. It's kind of cute. It's just little touches here and there. And I would love to. It's very interesting getting that kind of perspective on a relationship where that's what Poppy and Castile have been doing. Like, of course, accelerated to this point, but like even when they just first started, and people were just, "Oh, we have to keep it secret," and people are like,
right,
we can see you.
Yeah.
You think you're slick?
You're not.
And also, Kira being pregnant gets Poppy thinking about having kids and what her kids with Castile will look like, and they would be so freaking cute.
They'd be so they would be chaos gremlins. Can you imagine?
Dude, I can't imagine, honestly. And so they head out on the road and encounter other Atlanteans, but Poppy is reaching out and no one is feeling negative towards her, which is very refreshing. So kind of her guard is up, but not, steel brick house or whatever terminology you want to use.
Yeah.
And they eventually arrive at the palace where the king and queen are staying, and they, park the horses, whatnot, enter castle. Poppy notices that it is much smaller than Castle Tierman, but it is very much more beautiful. So it's the craftsmanship versus sizing. So it's, I akin it to kind of how architecture is today in the modern day. Like you drive by all these new apartment buildings going up and whatever, and they're like, oh wow, that looks like a plain Jane kind of house, not really anything to look at. And then like I went to Edinburgh in Scotland last year, and like the architecture, even like in the States too, but like, oh my God.
Absolutely. I've never been out of the country, but I know like admiring videos and photos of like all the cathedrals and
but even in the US there's old buildings and stuff that you can find around the country that are like, dang, not very large, but the craftsmanship and the beauty unmatched.
I did get to go to St. Pat's in New York, and that was very moving.
Nice. Poppy then spots the Atlantean royal crest as they enter the palace, and to describe it, because I could not find any really good art of it, so I have to do some more digging. But essentially, it's a golden sun at its center is a sword laying diagonally on top of an arrow. But instead of them being like crossed here, they're crossed here. So they kind of make a little triangle from what I gather. And the sword is also larger than the arrow and laying on top of it. So it's like, it's supposed to symbolize like the rulers of that time, because each ruler, when they come into power, can have it changed. And so this particular design was designed by Malek. And so the sun is to represent Atlantia, the sword is Malek, and the arrow is Iluana. So it's very symbolic of the kind of person Malek was as well. Just overpowering and, all that. And Poppy does not like it. And it's like, hell yeah. Of course you don't. She thinks that they should be crossed at the center equally. And Castile agrees. So she promises if she takes the crown that she says the sword and the arrow will be crossed equally. And with that, it's time to officially meet the in-laws in better circumstances in the way that you kind of wish you had in the first place, She's properly dressed, not covered in blood or muck of some kind.
Surrounded by a bunch of people that she just killed.
Too. using powers that she's never realized she had before, you know, the normal stuff. So the door opens and Poppy is immediately reading everyone's emotions. And like, at some point we got to talk about this. Like, I am that's the only part of her character that I struggle with. I'm like, you are just willy-nilly reading people. Like, it's very, yeah, I'm conflicted.
Well, see, that is the part that I connected with a lot. And I probably need to unpack that with a therapist because I tend to, like, especially in social settings, I combat that a lot of always wondering if, and maybe it's paranoia, right? But just picking up on people's emotions and reading rooms is very intense for me. And I had to mask for a while. So it is overwhelming because you have to discern, okay, am I interpreting this on a personal level because it's triggering something in me within myself? Or is this person genuinely going through an emotion of their own and I'm just picking up on it? So creating that divide of being able to cut yourself off from that is an art. It's an absolute art.
Yeah, no, I've definitely had my experience as well with, like, you know, having to be hyper aware of, you know, figuring out people's vibes and emotions, you know, as I'm in a crowded room or even small setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the way that Poppy will, you know, without coming to those thoughts first, to be like, hey, I'm just gonna meet you, and then if I start to get confused, I might use my power here a little bit. Instead she
says,
busts out the room. Yeah, she busts out the room and she's like, tell me what you're thinking,
tell me your
feeling.
Secrets, tell me all your feelings.
So I'm like, girl, I get it. Like, Poppy, I understand, because she was also never allowed to talk to people, all of that. So there's a lot of background and reasoning why she uses her powers in this way. Yeah. But yeah, and I think even Castile has had a conversation with her. At least for himself. For himself, at least. He's like, don't read my emotions. Like, just don't do it. And I'm like, good for you, Castile, for putting up a boundary that she just doesn't seem to have any regard for with much of anybody else. But, you know, at least it's not, you know, she's not using it back on them. She's simply gathering the information. And, you know, so it has its pros and cons. It's just more so that she literally, like, doors open. What are you feeling today?
It's
Queen.
It's a bit invasive, isn't it? It's a little bit invasive.
Yeah, because when reading his mother's emotions, she feels relief, joy, love, sorrow, grief. It's like, you are just reading this woman who is seeing her son, you know, like, and getting to take in his presence for the first time in, like, who knows how many years. Yeah. So it's like, because it's the first time they've gotten to really unite, and it is a very lovely moment, and it's nice. He introduces Poppy to them, and of course, like, they're immediately hopping on the whole, like, so he ascended you, but you're not a vampire. So, like, what's going on with that? You know, they're having a lot of trouble letting go of it. And I mean, they have also, I can't speak for everybody, but I've had this with my parents where, like, they constantly keep bringing up like, they could bring up a thing that I did in the past, like, oh, well, you did that thing that one time. And I'm like, and look where we are now. It's fine. Yeah. So they just keep hammering at it, and she's just like, she's over it. And she does try to diffuse it because Castile's getting heated. She's like, whoa, he shouldn't be getting mad at his parents like that. I gotta try to reel this in a little bit. So yeah, she flat out's like, he did what he did. He took the risk that he did. We're all aware of that. I didn't turn a vampire, which is great news for everybody. Thank end. God.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can talk about the what ifs and the hypotheticals all day, but the reality of the situation is what's standing in front of you. Like, it's not even a situation of, like, they're debating this beforehand. They're just, like, revisiting it
after.
Yeah, it's the whole, like, ask for forgiveness instead of permission kind of mindset.
Yeah. And she says this one line in that conversation. She says, I didn't escape one crown only to be silenced and patronized by another. Girl. Full body goosies, because
powerful.
So good. So good.
Yeah, she is finding her voice more and more and just starting to put her foot down and come into like her power that she knows she has, and it is beautiful. It is just beautiful. So if the issue, the issue is that the action took place at all. It's not necessarily the what happened after that, because now if word were to spread, that he did what he did, no one has seen her really, so no one knows what she is at this point, that she didn't turn into a vampire. So word spreads that Castile did this, then everyone at Atlantia immediately starts thinking that she's an Ascended. And it's like, that is really, really bad. That we don't want that.
No.
And yeah, like you were saying with that quote, like, why would she have to be hidden yet again when it's the Atlanteans that caused that whole situation to take place in the first place? Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Valen calls her the Maiden, and we know how Castile feels about that. So he snaps.
Yes!
He's like, you never fucking call her that again. It's the protective partner.
Yes!
It was, got my heart going. And there's a back and forth with Poppy and Iluana. It's not really unfriendly, but it's not friendly either. It is very standoffish.
Yeah.
Poppy is angry. She's being questioned for her motives in being here. And, but all she's chosen and wanted was Castile. And, like, swoon for Poppy at this moment. Like, we swoon for Castile all the time because we, like, think of ourselves as Poppy, but hearing that kind of language coming from Poppy and Castile hearing it is such a nice shift. And it's just like, she says those nice things too. Oh, my God. And with that, Iluwanu apologizes. Good. Sit down.
As she should.
And they move from standing to sitting, so just that action is like, okay, we're sitting, we're calming down. And Iluwana starts to explain Poppy's possible bloodline, because deities could have children with mortals and Atlanteans, and they usually live mortal lifespans and heal quicker, not get sick, and the children with Atlanteans also had gifts and abilities, even if they were mortal. So essentially kind of what Poppy's dealing with. They also have a need to, like, chase death. And we're all either killed or taken by the Ascended to feed on and use to make more vampires. So it's like, chasing death, you say? Like climbing out on a rise in a nightgown during a battle? Or, breaking all of the rules imposed upon her to go get a little smoochy, I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar.
Sleeping with the Dark One?
And she quotes, "Those who carried the blood of the gods were often warriors, the first to stop a fight, and sometimes start one." It's like, okay, that sounded a little bit more and more like Poppy.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah, the difference is that no deity / Atlantean descendants have ever had abilities that were as strong as the ones that she has. Like, her powers far exceed any of those kinds of descendants. So yet again, it's like, okay, well, we almost had an idea of what she was, but now there's still more contradicting evidence.
Right.
Iluwana also confirms that Poppy's gifts are the same as Malek's, and she even looks like him. Don't like where that's going. Cass and Kieran both tell her doesn't matter to them. Don't care. Doesn't matter, because they're already starting to be like, nope.
Yeah.
That's, oh no.
Get the spray bottle.
Yeah. Because not only are, Poppy's gifts the same, she looks like him, put 1 and 2 together, you get 3, she is his daughter.
This family tree just got even more fucked.
Nerd. So this means that she was never mortal. And her father could be, or her mother could be her mother. So, Cora could be her mother, but she might not be mortal. So it's like, but this also means that her father is definitely not her father, like biological father.
Right.
And it's like, we are also revealed that Castile's parents knew that Poppy was a target at the inn that night. Of course, they didn't know, like, who she was, only that Like, they found out that a descendant of Melek, was found. So they condoned Alistair's choices. The murder of a child. Yikes. Also, Alistair keeps continuing to just be revealed how much of a piece of shit this man was.
Beyond the pile of wolf shit that he has turned into, he's still fucking around.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, I wish they could bring him back so that we could kill him all over again.
That's
because
right.
what the fuck? And, you know, but they try to backtrack and be like, but, like, we didn't order it. Like, we didn't have any other hand in it. We just knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, like, being complacent in a move like that, bad enough. You know, bad enough. Now we're going to get another lore alert. We have more on Melek. And so after Iluana had the marriage annulled, Melek disappeared. He poof out of he's gone. And after the War of Two Kings and her marriage to Valen, Iluana actually did go looking for him, as he posed, you know, he is too great a threat to the throne. So this is 400 years ago. Iluana actually did find and entomb him. And he should have been dead by the time Poppy was born, pretty much. Like, he was just locked away to starve and die. It's like, that's nice. I mean, he was a real bad guy, so it's like, do we feel that bad? But like, dang, right. Okay, Iluana, that's dark. Not even killing him, but just forcing him to like slowly wither to nothing. Oof. So only those with the blood of Nyktos can bring people back to life, like Poppy did. And Melek was his grandchild, which makes Poppy his great-grandchild. So it's like, okay, so you're also descended from Melek, which means you're descended from Nyktos, king of the gods!
We got a granddaddy Nyktos up in here! Granddaddy!
Like, oh my lord. Melek is entombed beneath the blood forest outside of Macedonia. And the only way he could have sired Poppy is if he had risen. End result of it all, the Ascended were likely behind all of it. Like, they were behind raising Melek, maybe even forcing him to impregnate a woman to birth Poppy. Dark shit. Like, oh no. And, you know, Poppy's like, I'm no goddess, I'm just a deity. And Castile says, you'll always be a goddess to me.
Swoon.
Yes. And another question comes into consideration. Does Poppy need to feed now? As it stands, they really can't be sure, but they just kind of have to play the wait and see game. So Castile kind of tells her, like, hey, here's some clues as to what might, you know, what symptoms come with getting hungry for blood, I guess.
Right.
And then Iluana asks for Poppy to go on a little mother-in-law, daughter-in-law walk. And I don't know about you, but my heart would sink into my ass.
Oh my
if I had
God.
just met them, I had just met them, had that kind of conversation and that kind of reveal, and then she's like, can we actually go for a walk together? I'd be like,
come with me.
Do I have to?
Yeah, I don't fucking trust anyone. Jesus.
Yeah. But, you know, she goes, like the wonderful woman that Poppy is, and Iluana makes a point to tell her that her parents are the ones who cared for her. So, like, Cora and Leopold were her parents. And, you know, I love that sentiment. I love that it's backed up that way, because calling into question all of her, you know, heritage and, you know, who she descended from, all of this questioning of that, like, at the core of it, to make sure that she still understands, like, the people who raised you and that you loved and that loved you, those were your parents. Like, no one can tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
That's so great.
There's really big elements of adoption in this. That's, I mean, I have never experienced anything in relation to adoption. I have several friends that were adopted. So kind of, and friends that I'd known for several years. So seeing their evolvement throughout the years and coming to terms with that, I just reading this whole section again really hit hard for me. So it's like Poppy is not only processing all of these titles and all of this power, she is now coming to terms with the people that she knew as her parents were not her actual blood parents. So exactly like you just said, the fact that Castile's mother offers her this sentiment, right, is just very telling befitting of the type of rulers that they are.
Yeah, and the type of people they are at the core of
Mhm.
it as well. So it's really nice to be able to see, like, obviously they aren't human, so I guess as we refer to, like, their humanity, their
Yeah.
heartfelt, their down to earthness. And Poppy starts to bring up her time that was spent with Queen Ileana. And this is another one of those fun name plays where you have Queen Ileana, Queen Ileana. So I will try to make sure to pronunciate and enunciate. Pronunciate, that's a fun word. Enunciate all but the differences, just like Malik and Malek.
Malik and Malek.
I will, yeah, as I read more of them, I'm like, okay, it's starting to stick a little bit more as far as how they each differ, but even still, woof. So Ileana refers to Ileana as the Queen of Blood and Ash, and she kind of gives us a little bit more background as to what the Blood and Ash terminology means. And she says, from the blood of those who have fallen at the hands of the Ascended, and from the ash of all they have destroyed, we will rise. Yeah, it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Like, that's what I envision.
It is. Because now we're getting more background on the guy that threw the hand in book 1 and said, from blood and ash we will rise. And back then we were like, well, we know that's important. We don't know what the fuck that means. It's pretty fucking important.
Yeah, especially since we've now seen firsthand, what was it, in Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, I believe, where they go through Pompeii and they see it burnt to ashes. Like, it's pretty literal.
It's intense.
Actually.
Yeah.
As you think, it's like, wow, how symbolic, and oh man, it's like, no, that's actually legit.
It's just point blank.
Yeah, and Ileana further explains that Malek was not a bad man, at least not when they met. And it's just like, immediately my alarm bells started going off. I'm like, uh-oh, not a Malek apologist. Nope.
God.
Like, oh, he was never abusive. He was just unfaithful.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Right.
Points for Malek. Like, no. No. Girl, like, great. It's a good to hear that he wasn't abusing you, but
exactly,
he still was cheating on you left and right. And so towards the end of Ileana and Malek's relationship, he started to kind of change into something else. It's like, physically, not really, but just more like he starts to get really dark and twisty, as, Meredith and Christina would say. And Ileana asks if they still plan to free Malik, and Poppy confirms it. She's like, yeah, of course we're still gonna go. He's now my brother as well. Like, yes, we're gonna go free him. I'm not gonna just leave him to continue undergoing all the torture that Castile had to go through. No, not what we're about. And she explains the ultimatum that they are going to give to the Ascended. Like, either return all the lands to the Atlanteans, let them rule on their own, get your bloodlust under control, or go to war. And it's just like, all right, if you think, good luck. And, we do find out that Valen wants war, as well as the Council of Elders. So it's like, a little uphill battle there, but we will see how successful they are. And surprise, surprise, Castile has been away for a while, and they're already on the brink of war, actually. And I do remember thinking about that when we were reading this, and Castile's like, no, when we get back, we'll talk about it. It's like, do you think time has stopped back home? Like, I get it, where obviously you are very concerned with what's in front of you, understandably so, but like, other shit's happening back there as well. Like,
yeah, like,
don't know what you're walking back to.
Let's not forget, like, they killed Chaney, right? They killed a lord, so that's not going unnoticed.
Totally. I didn't even think about that. That is so true.
The whole battle with the Duchess, like, all of that happened. So yeah, exactly what you just said. While they're focused on their immediate, what's in front of them, the plot is plotting. Okay, they are.
Yeah, which I appreciate that happening, where it's like JLA is like, oh yeah, they've been trotting off and we've been in their POV, like, seeing what's going on in their little bubble, as like, oh yeah, when my parents get back, we'll talk about whether or not we go to war. It's fine. It's like, brother, they've been doing a lot of prepping actually
Exactly.
for that war.
Exactly. Because the Ascended, not only, yes, they suck, but it's not like they suck and they're stupid.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they suck and they're smart. So.
they do. They suck and smart. Get it? Because they suck blood. Iluana further confirms that if there is indeed a war, which at this point it's more than likely there will be, their plan is that no Ascended is going to be spared. No chance to try to control themselves. No ultimatum will be posed. Every single one of them is going to be wiped out, including Ian and Tawny if they are turned and confirmed Ascended. It's like, and that's a shock to Poppy. And you know, while we can praise, you know, Iluana and Valen for like, wow, you guys are such good kings and queens, they're planning another genocide because that worked out so well the first time. Like, at the end of the day, like, yes, Ascended are super evil and bad, but, you know, there are possibly people like Ian and Tawny among them that might not necessarily be so cruel. And so Poppy wants to give them the opportunity to, like, live their life differently, not under the rulers of like these awful rulers, but instead they're just like, nah, get rid of them all. And it's just like, ooh, that's a bit of a red flag because that's literally, you're repeating your own choices. It's not even history repeating itself because you were the one that did the history beforehand.
Right.
Like,
right.
Wild. And moving on, the Queen essentially confirms that Atlantia has always known who the Ascended were and what they were up to. And instead of trying to work with them, they chose to just be like, actually, we're just going to close off our borders and we're going to prep for another war. Well, everybody else continues to suffer. And Poppy calls her the fuck out and atta girl.
That's right.
Atta girl.
That's right.
But it's already done. War was pretty much decided, and only this queen and king can stop it. But not Iluana and Valen. Wink. Speaking of becoming queen, Poppy is doubting herself, and Iluana verbally, like, smacks her upside the head, saying, like, Poppy has the blood of the gods flowing through her, and if anyone is meant to rule, it's gonna be her. And it's just like, hell yeah. Unfortunately, though, Poppy has days to decide if she wants this crown. And Cass and Valen show up, rejoining the group, along with Vanetta, and she's come from Spessa's End. It's like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be back there. She's come to report that the Ascended have shown up, but they have not attacked because they're waiting for Poppy. They've sent a special Ascended to come and deliver this message, and this Ascended, claims to be Ian.
Almost forgot about him because where the fuck has he been?
It's been constantly questioning, like, oh, is Ian an Ascended? There's all the evidence points to like yes, and unfortunately, to Poppy's dismay, Netta does confirm that he is an Ascended. So like, of course, no one knows what Ian looks like, and he can just show up and be like, yeah, I'm Ian, I'm Poppy's brother, and it could be anybody. So she's kind of banking on it, trusting on that. But yeah, as far as that, they're definitely an Ascended. Like, they're not in the sunlight, at the very least, which is a flag in itself. He supposedly said that the Ascended don't want further bloodshed, and he wishes to speak with his sister to prevent further war. So Castiel's parents object to them leaving, rightfully so. Like, it could be a trap, obviously. The kingdom's needs come before their own. And Castiel actually disagrees. He's like, no, because how are we supposed to lead this kingdom if we are having such large personal problems that we can't fully do our job? And it's like, I get it, Castiel, like, totally. This is a very serious situation. However, all of us do this on a day-to-day basis where we have to continue to go to work and do our jobs while everything else crumbles around us. So, like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But the reality of the situation, like, I get where the king and queen are coming from as well. Being like, no, you gotta take care of your shit here. Like, but he's like, no, Poppy comes first. She is my wife. And it's just like, damn right, she's your wife. Like, we love hearing it. But it's just like, but also, yeah, you have responsibilities. Technically, they're not king and queen yet, though. So it's like, peace.
Yeah.
And he like puts his foot down. He's like, nope, we're leaving immediately, and the Wolven are gonna come with us. And so we do a lot of fast travel in this book. Like, now that we've gotten a lot of the road travels and seeing the sights around, now JLA is like, okay, we're like
It's go
season
time.
8ing Game of Thrones, like not in the bad way. Only in the way that they're hopping to and from places.
Yep.
I just want to make that clear. A lot of negative connotations to season 8 Game of Thrones, rightfully deserved. Not that, not this way. They do arrive in Spessa's End, and Poppy continues to be referred to as Mehalisa by the Wolven. And the bond change was felt even all the way here. So it's like, this is not just like within a certain radius. It's becoming clearer that this was all of the Wolven, like all of them, wherever they are. And Castile and Poppy get to their room and start to prep for the meeting later, discussing that nothing can be revealed to the Ascended, that they don't already know. Like, even if Ian is still Ian, he's like, we gotta keep up a front. We cannot be like revealing things willy-nilly just because he's your brother. Like, I know he's your brother, but he's on the wrong side right now. They actually kind of get a little more heated with each other than we've seen, and not like a sexy heated. Like, they start to kind of very strongly disagree with each other and argue a little bit. And it's something we haven't really seen on like a serious matter. Like, of course, the bantering is a level of like arguing in a sense, but this is like marital disagreement. Like, we're having this out right now.
Right.
So he continues to want to protect her from being harmed and, discovered, because once again, no one has seen her. No one really knows what she's about right now, as far as what status of her being is. But Poppy only sees that as him not believing that she can defend herself, even though time and time again, like, she's proven that she can, and he sees that she can, but he still continues to be like, I want you to stay back. I don't want you out there. And it's just like, it's a very interesting fight between that. And like, because she knows that he has faith in her ability to fight, but it's like, it's just this fight that's been a constant topic of discussion between the two of them. Like, at some point you question, like, is this out of stubbornness? Is this out of love? Like,
is it out of control?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, Castile makes it very clear that it's about love. Like, he's, he wants to protect her from feeling the grief of knowing that her brother is truly gone. Like, he wants to keep her from having to kill him.
Yeah, because I think that even though it's not mentioned, maybe he was thinking about his own brother with that.
Yeah, like, Castile knows the feeling of what it's like to have to kill someone you love, because he had to kill Shay. And so he does not want her to have to go through that. So it does end up being like a touching moment, and they work through it. So it's like, yay, good, positive communication. We like this. We like this. And he has a point, though. She has a lot more power. She simply gets upset, and she nearly ordered the Wolven to attack. So at the turn of a flip of a coin, she can, just destroy the masses. And not that that's not super badass, because it is, but lacking the control over power like that is very scary.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, you have the ability to make or break an entire, whatever the scale of her power goes, like, she can just rock everyone's shit.
Right. Literally, who knows what her powers would do? Like, even just seeing Ian as an Ascended, let alone if she has to kill him.
I'm just speculating for the future, like, especially, we do know that there's a new book coming out. Like, would that power consume her?
Very true.
So it's a balancing act.
It really is. And they do have a tender moment of, understanding after talking through this, and they kiss, and then they're naked. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Thank God.
I know. It's like, nothing diffuses the tension of an argument like a good fuck.
It's getting too serious. Bring me the dirty, filthy smut.
Yes. Castile says he has a craving for honeydew.
Of course
he does. He backs her against a wall and then starts to finger her while she's standing up. And while talking to her about how he loves seeing her like this. So beautiful.
Come on.
Before we can like fully get into that moment, he drops to his knees and says, I could spend an eternity on my knees before you.
Yes, please.
He eats her out, and then she kind of like brings his head back up and then walks him back to the bed. So he's sitting, she's straddling him. Save a horse riding Atlantean, am I right? And mid-ride, he asks Poppy to promise him that if taking out Ian poses a risk to her well-being, she will not do it. It's like, how are you supposed to turn that down mid-thrust? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like, can we just unpack on that for a second?
No, I want to. I have a note. I'm like, is this manipulative?
That's
not his style.
That's exactly what I thought.
It's not his style to manipulate like that, but he does have a very large habit of knowing how to distract her and please her when needed. Not necessarily to get something out of it for him all the time, but like in this moment, one, if you bring up my sibling while we are fucking, we're stopping immediately.
This really did not sit right with me reading this this second time through. Honestly, it shot me back to like, oh, have I been wrong for falling in love with this character finally? Does he still have ill intentions? Is he still lying? Are we still pretending? Are we still fucking pretending?
It's like you get so many pages and chapters of like, oh, they're amazing, they're wonderful. And then there's just little seeds of like stuff like this where we're just like, and then our guards back up and it's like, no, wait, I thought we were safe from this. And
so we're going to put a pin on this. We're going to put a pin on this moment to circle back as we get further into,
because this, and I don't even think I really called that out the first time I read this book either, but this time it jumped at me.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So she agrees, obviously, and then he flips her on her front and starts fucking from behind. Then she tells him to go harder, and he obliges.
Get it, girl! Get it, girl!
She knows what she wants, and she's telling him.
That's right.
Lovely. Then later that evening, after the fucking, Vanetta comes to get them because the Ascended are here because the sun went down. So let's go see Ian. Oh my God, he has
entered the chat. He's entered the chat, everyone.
They arrive with 1 carriage and 4 royal knights, and it is truly Ian. We get that reveal. She positively identifies. But he unfortunately now does have the pitch black eyes of an Ascended and is immediately taken back by Poppy's announcement of the marriage to Castile. He believes that she's still being held hostage. Like, he's fully like, oh, sister, you're still under his spell. Come with me. It's like,
under the spell of the dick.
Yeah. Clearly the Ascended have their hooks in him quite deep. Ian is here to send a message. The true queen, as he says, would like to speak with them in Oak Ambler. The Blood Crown knows about their growing armies. So that little sneaky sneak that they thought they were doing all of these years, they've known. They've known.
They're like, we can see you.
Yeah. So all of the time this happens in these books, whether it's little kissing moments, building armies. It's just like, we see what you're doing.
We see you.
You think you're being slick.
And Ian is very overly chipper when talking about all of this. Like, he is excited to serve his overlord. He's like, ha!
It's, oh my God, you doing that Twilight Brain arrow. It's incredible.
So yes, that is Ian.
Yeah, very nonchalant, very enthusiastic while talking to them. And he does mention that the queen will unleash something new upon Spess's End and Atlantia if they try to attack them.
Don't like that.
He says that the thing that they will unleash is called a revenant. New?
Leonardo, what are you doing here?
That bear. Ian asks Poppy for a hug. Weird. But she does end up agreeing, which I was like, girl, what? You're gonna do what? No, do not. But she does think, like, maybe this is my opportunity to, like, get close enough to him and, you know, shank him and end his life. Because obviously we know that he's completely brainwashed and past hope. So they embrace, and then Ian does a little sneak whisper to her that he knows the truth and they need to awaken Nyktos, as only his guards can stop the Blood Crown. Double agent!
So he is on our side.
He is. Like, maybe double agent isn't the right word, but he's on their side.
He's on our side. And I also, without any context, so no spoilers, it was very witch killer, the human is still inside him coded.
Very. Very.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is exactly what I thought of.
I actually saw a TikTok the other day of someone painting their walls from like white to a really dark color. So they painted that on their wall.
I saw someone that they were doing a paint swatch in their room and they wrote it out.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think, I didn't do that. I painted my friend's house when she bought it years ago. And I hadn't read Throne of Glass at that point, but I did paint a really big dick on the wall, though. As the mature person that I am.
I love that.
I immediately covered it up because she has kids now. But every time I go to their house, I look, my husband's with me. I'm like, see this wall? There's a big dick behind it that I painted.
I put a dick on that wall.
I did that. I am a 12-year-old boy. We now cut to later after that twist of like the century, it feels like.
Yeah.
And even Jasper is surprised at this development. Cass and Poppy are seriously now considering waking Nyktos. Big deal, big decision, because they believe what Ian said is true. But how do the Ascended know of their armies, you might be asking? Fucking Alistair. Alistair, you scraggly bitch. Still screwing shit up from the fucking grave.
Squirming around. He's still squirming around.
We hate him. We hate him. I swear, like, I felt so relieved when he died in the last book. I'm like, I was right the whole time. This man was no good. I'm so glad he's done and over with. We never have to hear from him again. Boy, were we wrong.
We were wrong.
We were wrong.
We were very wrong.
Reading this book and seeing his fucking name pop up again as the reason why their plans are like shot to hell, it had me acting like Dennis. Like, my rage is untethered and knows no bounds.
Quite literally wanted to vomit in my mouth.
He's so, and we can't. He's dead, so we can't even go kill him again.
Yeah,
I'd kill him. Or no, he's been eaten. He was torn apart and eaten by the Wolven, actually. So there's no remains left.
This is us taking our power back. We're not going to give Alistair this power over us anymore. Fuck him. He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, you're dead. That's it. So long. So now Cass and Poppy go for a walk and talk things over because, like, a lot to talk over. She did show restraint in not killing Ian, because she processed in her head. She's like, well, that could have been seen as an act of war, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So it's like, good. All right, Poppy. Way to be royal. Royal of you. Very leadership. And Poppy also explains that she would take the crown in order to better the lives of the people in Solus and Atlantia. And Castile continues to say, like, yep, I support you, whatever you choose. But it's like, bro, what do you want, though? And it's like, we love a supportive partner all the time. Like, we want that. But, like, you need to have your feedback, too. Like, it drives me crazy bonkers when I'm trying to talk to somebody and be like, yeah, here's like my thoughts on the situation, like on this choice or whatever that we have before us. Like, what do you think? Well, whatever you want to do, I support you. No.
Yeah.
You're
like, I need some input. And she does give a tangible answer. She does say that she wants the crest changed to display equality between powers, which I thought was very fucking cool on her part.
Yes. The first thing, like, she's like, yep, that was actually first thing I caught, and that's going to be what we change, actually.
Yep.
And, Castile goes on to explain, like, he grew up being trained for this. Like, he knows he can do it. He's like, so that's why, like, I'm going to support you, whatever you choose, because I know that I can do this. I was trained for this. You were not trained for this. So, like, if you want to and believe you can, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And she does. She believes that she can. She says she wants to. Then he calls her my queen. She's my
Love
queen.
that. Love that. Gets me every time.
It does. Same. So tomorrow, tomorrow they're going to head to the capital of Atlantia, not Solus, because they are going to go wake Nyktos.
Let's go.
And let's go wake a god.
I can only imagine how this is going to go.
Oh, yeah, totally chill.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up now back in Poppy's dream in the memory of the night at the inn. But we're now getting more details. So Shadow Man is present and trying to kind of get at Poppy, but her mother defends her, stabbing the man in the chest. And remember, she has like this black dagger looking thing.
Yeah.
Then Poppy is ripped away by the Craven as this Shadow Man tries to get a hold of her. And there's also mention of like dark shadows seeping in from the windows and the doors, and he's dressed like the Dark One. So it's like, okay, some kind of additional power or bad guy something was there, but we have no idea who this is.
Yeah, still mystery.
Then she wakes up and then tells Castile of this realization that she has of, he's dressed like the Dark One. So he was there as posing as him or something.
Yeah.
And they head out with good company. They've got a ton of the Wolven, as well as some Atlantean guards. Most are coming with them to witness the coronation in Evimon, but a smaller group will travel into Elysium with Poppy and Castile to wake with Nyktos after they get to Evimon for the coronation. So it's like, first stop Evimon, coronated, king and queen. Second stop, wake a god. So they've got a little detour in between going to be a god, wake the gods. When they stop for food, Cass makes a joke about Poppy wanting a meat casserole, and I just had to point that out. It's so funny. He teases her so bad. He's just because I think they start talking about different kind of casseroles and like
they do.
Oh, I want a green bean casserole, and I'm like, you guys got fucking green bean casserole over there? You have cream of mushroom soup?
Yes, they do. There's also in this conversation, there's a little, it's very wholesome to me, this whole conversation, the excitement over all the different foods. And Poppy in this same little inner dialogue, she's reflecting that she says, arguing about vegetables if we had a normal life. And I was like, oh, first knife to the heart. And then she's reflecting on like her and Ian, thinking about just like how weird this whole situation is. And she's like, we still could have that normal life where we argued about vegetables. So she's like being hopeful. And I just thought that was such like a sweet, this whole interaction I just loved so much.
Yeah. Because they never really get to
just
have
chill.
those kinds of, like what we think of as trivial.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, they're talking about different food they like. That's amazing.
We want beach blowjobs and meat casseroles. That's all that we want. That's it.
That's it. Is that too much to ask? But yeah, it's just because Poppy has no idea what a casserole is, and then he's just like,
yeah,
I think Poppy would love a meat casserole. And they're all just kind of like laughing, and I'm just like, don't beat up on her. She doesn't know what you're even saying.
Oh.
Kieran later sits next to Poppy, and she brings up Lyra because she just can't keep her nose out of anything. And because like the two of them have been kind of poking fun at each other the last few days. We've seen them kind of starting to connect, and Poppy asks if, he likes her. And he says like, yeah, he likes her just fine. She's fun. And it's like, oh, all right. So not seriously anything then.
Yeah.
Poppy then says that she has a question to be nosy. Kieran immediately clocks her and's like, oh, the night on the beach when you watched her give me a blowjob? Shock and awe at that blunt response. Like, just immediately, oh, yeah. You mean when you watched me get a blowy?
Right.
Poppy then asks about the love he'd lost, and he tells her that her name was Elatia, is how I believe it's pronounced. She unfortunately did die some time ago from a wasting disease. And he goes into detail that there's a few sicknesses that trace back to the Kiyu wolves, which is, remember, what the Wolven are descended from. Nyktos made the Kiyu wolves into the Wolven. And these sicknesses attack their bodies and essentially slowly shut things down as they age. And they don't normally get to live very, as long as a normal wolf, and they don't live very long, which it's very sad. So it's just like, oh man, Lyra,
Yeah.
still badass though. Like, she's traveling with them, she's chilling. Like, we do still obviously love her. She's great.
Yeah. The conversation that Kieran and Poppy have after that, like after he goes into detail about the disease, the one quote that he says that I loved is, the heart doesn't care how long you have someone, it just cares that you have the person for as long as you can. Just have to sit with
Love
that
that.
for a minute.
And it's very touching. It's a really really nice scene. The next day, Poppy actually asks for her own horse because she wants to ride into the capital on her own mount. And
Let's go!
It makes sense. And I love that she made that decision for herself. Like, hey, you know what? I'm riding in on my own horse. It's like,
the
fuck
Poppy
yeah, girl.
Pony Club! Poppy Pony Club!
And Emil is like super all giddy. He's like, I'll go get you a horse. And Castile makes a comment about him having a death wish for like wanting to jump at the bit for anything Poppy wants. And like, he just like, you know, bows before her in more of a sense of, or like, besides her just being his queen.
I can just imagine Castile being,
yeah, he's just like, oh, Castile's so jealous.
yeah.
We also find out that typical coronations are usually an all-day affair, complete with a feast and a ball. And while they would both love to do that, and it sounds so fun, and I'm like, oh, I want a ball scene, yeah.
I know.
Seeing as the last ball scene that we had was in From Blood and Ash, and that didn't end very well.
Fucking red wedding. God.
Yep. They unfortunately do not have much time. So since she will be the queen, she can just do what she wants. So he's like, yeah, we can't have it now, but like, sweetie, you're gonna be the queen. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And then an arrow flies by her head. Okay. JLA loves her a surprise attack. I think that's the only way that she really loves to write these battles. Like,
yeah, because it's like, oh, lovely trail ride, so peaceful. We're having conversation. That's like flying fucking arrows. Okay, let's go.
Who is it? They're wearing bronze masks. They're the unseen. Oh, and the Germs. The Germs are back. Joy.
Love that.
The fighting begins, and Poppy eventually just, like, uses her gift to destroy all of them. And Cass says, get him, girl.
That's right.
Right.
Let's go.
I just love that that's literally the line. Get him, girl.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. And her powers, like, wrap around these things and twist, break, and pop all of their bodies and bones. And then she calls a silver light to burn all of their bodies to ash.
And she quite literally follows up with, after all, it seemed unsanitary to leave the bodies behind.
Because if we remember, when a Germ dies, it like explodes into this black goo.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Icky. So yay, Poppy's like her own cleanup crew.
That's right. And this is, I think that this is the first scene, like the first fight scene where she is consciously using her power. Is that right? Like she's actively...
I think so.
Because like I know with the temple, she set it off and killed, you know, everyone that was coming, that was stoning her. But this is a different situation. She like sees a threat and actively uses it.
I want to say she did that
with the Duchess. I couldn't
remember.
when
she got captured, I'm pretty sure she did it. It still stemmed from like anger though. Like it was still her being like, how dare you do this to me? I'm gonna wah. This is like very conscious, like, oh, we're getting overwhelmed now. Like I need to tap into this, and
she's like starting to polish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. Growth. Hell yeah. And Castile comments that it was very hot. It's just like, yeah.
That's right.
Because it felt very much, so like spoilers for the ACOTAR series, it felt very like Cassie and Nesta in this moment. Like, especially where a lot of Poppy's flames are said to be like silver flames. And so I'm like, man, that just connects deep in here. It's always going to be there. They finally arrive to Evimon, and the city is beautiful with these super tall ivory towers with like spires, and they stretch into the sky. So it reminded me of like Emerald City, but not emerald. Instead, it's like a lot of these like darker black, but also then not the more like lighter stone kind of towers and buildings, and it's very, very beautiful. There's also another massive black stone building in the capital, which is, the castle. And this is Scion's Cove. Scion's Cove had been about the size of Solus, Solus's capital, but Evimon was at least like 3 times the size of that. So it's big. They ride through the city and take in the beauty that Poppy will definitely need to explore another time. Like, I want to see more of this. Show me more of Evimon, please. But we have other things to attend to. They arrive at the palace. She notices that no walls actually separate the palace from the public. Unlike the Ascended, like the palace was surrounded by a wall of the rise, where she came from, versus here it's like all very open. And the palace is also, to Poppy's surprise, surrounded with night blooming roses, which are Poppy's favorite. And I don't know if we've really gotten to talk about the roses yet. It's only been brought up maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
But they're these black roses that only bloom and open at night. And gorgeous.
Yeah. Really, like the fact that she points that out, that they covered the palace that she would now call home. That's very
fate.
Yeah.
Fate. They meet Perry, who is a witty elemental. I don't know if there's any other kind. He's an elemental Atlantean, as well as Raoul, who is an older man. They leave the horses and head inside. Then Poppy has a moment of nervousness before stepping into the chamber where the current king and queen are waiting. Poppy and Cass enter the massive room where Valen and Illawanna are standing next to the thrones while wearing their crowns. Poppy declares they've come for what is hers, the crown and the kingdom. Chill.
Ooh. Yeah. Baddie alert, baddie alert.
Now, who's ready for a fucking coronation? There's a brief exchange between Valen, Illawanna, and Poppy, kind of like testing her to confirm that she's ready. And Illawanna says, "It's time. It's been time." And Poppy's been ready for a while. Then one of the elders, named Gregory, comes forward and presents, some of the elders' concerns, which Poppy addresses. And, well, we're not completely at ease with this, or he's not completely at ease. He does step back and let them proceed. So already we're seeing some more kind of headbutting between Poppy taking the crown immediately. It's like, great, this is gonna be great.
But like, is he not just such a great example of not going to the extremes to kill her while still expressing his concern with breaking tradition? I'm not going to say his name because I just said we're not going to give him the power, but it's like just such a good reflection of like, oh, here is a form of diplomacy. Look, they're not throwing her in a fucking crypt. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. You see how easy that was? Huh? You open your mouth enough. Or if only you opened it to the right people. Huh. Who'd have thought? So, yes, time for a not so elaborate coronation because, like we've said, they're kind of in a rush. So it reminded me of Men in Tights. Married in a hurry.
God. I love that fucking movie so much.
I love it.
We're
We're men in tights. Anyway, Valen states that they relinquish the throne, and both him and Illawanna remove their crowns and place them on the dais floor. So just to give you a description of what their crowns look like, Valen's is made of bleached bones, and Illawanna's is also made of bone, but hers is like a polished golden bone. So it's like, okay, cool. As it's placed on the dais floor, Valen's crown starts to crack and the bone crumbles away, revealing the gilded bone beneath. You mean the crown of gilded bones? Oh!
They said the title!
They did the title! We can stop now. Just kidding. That's a joke that my husband and I play all the time when we're watching a movie. And then we're like, all right, turn it off. We're done.
No more.
So then they pick them back up off of the floor and place the crowns atop Poppy and Castiel's head after swearing their vows. And they are pronounced the new king and queen of Atlantia.
Let's go! Oh my gosh. The visual I have in my head for this scene
Mm-hmm. We will be showcasing some art later of them looking like the royalty they are.
That's right.
We then meet Rose, who is the palace manager, and she's immediately like the most pleasant woman, and I love her.
Yeah.
And Poppy requests, for the first thing that happens is the crest needs to be changed, and gives her kind of the description that she wants, and she's like, I like that change. And then she hurries around to like pass the word, and she's like, oh, everyone's gonna love this because like they're gonna have so much work to do. This is so great. And it's like, oh yay, Poppy's already making good impressions on everybody,
bringing life in there.
Yeah. The elders wait for them to come and meet, and they also need to select an advisor, who they both want Kieran. To be honest, would have assumed Jasper. But Kieran's a great choice. Like, he, no doubt. But it's just like, oh, would have thought Kieran's dad. Like, when it says that they both look at Kieran, I'm like, oh, do they need to go get his dad?
Right.
Poppy leaves Valen and Cass to speak alone and, uses the time to think about what Tawny and Victor would say if they could see her right now. And it's a really, like, it made me tear up. I'm like, yeah, if only they could, like, see what she's gone through and where she is. Like, she's a queen. What? Like, it's so great. Then a woman approaches her, saying, I see you found sanctuary and more.
Who is that?
Who's that? She has dark curly hair and rich brown skin, and we've seen this woman before. She's the woman from the Red Pearl who told her to go to that room. What are you doing here?
Sitting here.
Castile then rejoins her as Poppy's just like, who the fuck are you? And Valen then calls them over like, oh, I want to introduce you. This is Wilhelmina Collins. Miss Willa. As in the diary author, Miss Willa. Poppy is stunned silent. Because, like, we learned in, the last part that, like, Willa was alive. She was an Atlantean. But, like, we had no idea who she, like, what she looked like or any of that. So, whoa.
Oh.
And before Cass can make any insane comments, as we know that he wants to do, like, I'm pretty sure it's described that Poppy sees his lips, like his mouth start to curve up, and she immediately is like, okay, let's go. Nope. She puts a stop to that immediately.
He immediately was like, oh, this is my time to shine.
Yeah, no shame whatsoever. Poppy's like, and just pulls him right into the chamber. One of the council members, named Lord Ambrose, immediately brings up all of the same concerns and, that everyone has had with like, oh, she was turned ascended, blah, blah, blah. And so she's like, I am so done. And there is no better way than to just like read this verbatim. She says, there is too much to discuss to sit here and talk about what cannot be changed in a discussion, nor will I sit here and answer for the crimes or choices or decisions that the ascended or the deities have made before me. I have already paid dearly for their sins. I will not entertain doing so again.
That is fucking right. That is fucking right.
Yeah, I can imagine that Castile is hard in this moment.
Absolutely.
He's at least rocking a half chub.
Yeah.
At least.
He's like
and it really feels like only the men, or at least majority men in the council, have these concerns. Whereas Willa, who is one of the elders, and another elder named Lady Cambria, like, they roll their eyes at all of this, like, and they do seem impressed by how, like, Poppy handles herself. I'm pretty sure Willa gives her, like, a smirk or something, like, okay.
Yeah.
And Lord Ambrose only shuts up about it once Castile tells him to do so. The misogyny of it all. It still exists fucking everywhere. Like, even with Poppy saying that, like, that hard-hitting, foot down, like, I'm your goddamn queen, and you're gonna respect me. And then he only just shuts up about it as soon as Castile's like, no, you're not gonna do that. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He says, do you want to read this line?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will bow before your queen or you will bleed before her. It is your choice. Oh, God. Need these tattooed on the insides of my eyelids.
Yes. That is one of the hottest quotes to date.
100%. Bow before your queen or you will bleed before her. So badass.
It's so good.
So good.
Ambrose quickly corrects his error, and they move on. It's like, damn fucking straight, shut your mouth. There's there's more back and forth about if the Ascended can be trusted, as well as like their plans to travel to Elysium. Willa warns them, if you're going there, do not enter the city of gods called Delos, because if you go there, you will not come back. And it's worth noting, like, the more that we actually get to know Willa now as, like, the person, we like her a lot. Like, she's cool. She's super cool. Stands up to the men. Already, we're loving her. Poppy asks her, like, why were you at the Pearl? Like, what were you doing there? And her answer is that she simply thirsts for exploration, much like Poppy. It's like, okay, yeah, you explore. You explore, all right. Explore that dick. And we love to read about it, so thank you. Right. She confirms that she is a changeling, but also a seer.
Woo!
In the sense that she has heightened instincts, so therefore she knew that Poppy was like wearing the metaphorical masks and hiding her true self. She said that she saw she was a second daughter and had the blood of the gods. So she sent Poppy to Castile's room because she knew that he was also looking for the same thing as her, to live. So it's not even like, we get the sense that she didn't even send them there because, like, destiny and all of the prophecies, whatever, that some people choose to, like, believe in this universe, and, like, all of that. It's like, no, I could tell that, like, you both needed each other on that level. And just, oh my God, so matchmaker, good. Matchmaker, make me a match. Just kidding. I have one. But it's so beautiful.
It is.
Iloana asks if she's ready, and Poppy thanks Willa for her time. There's still many questions unasked, obviously. And Willa responds, and if you become curious enough to ask those other questions I'm sure are brewing in your head, I'll be more than happy to answer them or refer you to a certain chapter would simply pass away.
Absolutely. I was just thinking about something. And maybe it's like very obvious to people that read on like a very deep analytical level, but I was just thinking about it. So the point that you brought up about how even though Poppy is queen and the misogyny is still so very alive, I feel like Willa keeping her diary is like the most badass form of like resistance against misogyny. Because think about it, she has all of those experiences written in her book, and we don't know what she wrote. She could have just like talked shit about them the entire time, and she's sitting here with a book on all of these men that are probably in all of these councils, right? And so she just
could be.
So I just wanted to share that thought real quick, because I was like, she's such a badass. She's such a badass.
Oh, that is 100% correct. Like, that's totally a small form of rebellion to be like, all right, you want to talk down to women? Guess what? I got my fuck journal out in the world.
Yep.
Do with that what you will. And it's also like, it connects back to why we love also reading these books and, praising these books, because it's like, it's a small form of, rebellion against the misogynistic reality that we have to live in. So.
And also, if she's a seer and she knew, like, she set Poppy and Castile up, did she knowingly leave her diary out too for Poppy to find?
That is one of my headcanons, honestly. Yeah. And I think, for sure. I choose to believe that she accidentally left her journal somewhere and Poppy snatched it, and now she's just like, where the fuck is my journal?
Right.
Like, I want Poppy to get to the end and there's blank pages like, oh no, it wasn't ready to be published. Before we close out with Willa, she leaves Poppy with, like, the most ominous thing that she possibly could. She says, your namesake was so wise, she could see beyond the day before her. But what she saw is not what they believe. You are not the great conspirator, but one of two who will stand between what has awakened and the retribution it seeks to reap against man and God. What?
Well, that's like not a lot of pressure at all.
Yeah, like, what?
What?
So, yeah, like I tried to like unpack that, but that is such a like mind-boggling
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Not now, granted, I think Poppy does not need to be the maiden at all. She does not need to be stuck in that situation. But this is like, we just entered an entire new arena.
yeah. One of two who will stand between what is awakened and the retribution it seeks to reap man against a god. Like,
God.
also one of two. What do you mean one of two?
Yeah.
You mean
What?
Ian? Like, what? Who?
Who?
Also, like the second daughter. She keeps saying that she's a second daughter.
Right.
Huh? There's
The fuck?
so many holes in Poppy's lineage that we don't have answers to yet, but we just keep getting fed more and more information about it without knowing anything else about it. It's such a
slice of Swiss cheese.
Because that is so on point. Yes.
Cheese. The lore of this universe is fucking...
It's Swiss cheese, but we have all of the... I know that Swiss cheese is not made like this, but we have the little holes that were removed from the Swiss cheese, and we're slowly putting it back in to make a full like thing of cheddar. You know, I know cheese does not work this way.
It does in fucking this universe, okay? Yeah. Lore cheese. Lore cheese.
Lore cheese. Now I want cheese. With that, so now it is time that the king and queen are officially introduced to their people. And, like, so fun! Yeah! And who's gonna be the one to do it? Willa, obviously. Okay. They are introduced one by one. Castile is greeted with a wave of cheers. And Poppy, however, many of the people stomp their feet or, like, are on their knees and they're, like, pounding the ground with their fists. The Wolven are heard, like, howling. And at first you're kind of on edge, like, what's happening? What's going on here? But it is a sign that they are hers. They will go to war for her if she wishes. And, like, so not theirs, hers.
That's very moving.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Cut you off. I was just gonna say it's very moving.
It totally is. Like, this was not even close to what we were expecting. Like, at the very least, we were like, best case scenario, she gets the cheers along with Castile. Worst case scenario, this goes very bad very quickly.
Right.
So the fact that it's even, like, more impactful than a crowd of cheers is like, oh my lord. And then Castile pulls her in for, like, a big ol' sloppy kiss, and the crowd erupts in more cheers, and he tells them, like, they're very affectionate people. They don't care about PDA here.
That's
so
right.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
And so the people celebrate. They start going fucking nuts. And it's like, yay! It reminded me of the end of Phantom Menace. Even though, granted, they're not getting married, but, like, when he holds up the giant thing, he's like, peace! And then everyone's just like, it reminded me very much of that, like, fireworks and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, I could recite that fucking movie from heart.
I love it.
And now they get to go see their rooms. And, oh my lord, because it's not that they just get their own little section of the castle or their own little room. They have an entire wing of the castle that is all theirs. And just, this is how I know that I'm over 30. The bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
The bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
There's a massive tub and a huge shower with benches, multiple shower heads, and, like, Poppy, her mind goes immediately where ours do.
That's right. She's like, I remember what I did in there.
Yeah. Oh, but it's a bigger shower.
That's right.
Multiple benches, multiple shower heads,
so much room for activities.
So much room for activities. Castile mentions that they don't know each other's birthday. No. So it's wild because, like, it is true. It's not something that we ever thought about. Like, these two are married and they don't even know what each other's birthdays are.
Right.
But also, we didn't really know that this was something that was celebrated in this universe either.
Yeah.
Either way, his is June 1st. It's like, it's nice. Poppy says that she actually doesn't know hers. She has memories of like celebrating when she was younger before her parents died, and they always celebrated sometime in April, but she never understood like what day. And after her parents died, it just kind of drifted off and no one ever celebrated again, which is like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
So Castile's like, all right, so pick a day with April that resonates with you, and that will be your birthday. And this is where I forgot this detail, and I had to put this down and freak the fuck out. She picks April 20th.
Yes, she
Guess
what? Guess what? Her birthday falls on fucking Easter this year.
I know, because I can't properly celebrate 420. So whatever party I'm showing up to, expect a certain status of my eyes. Jesus has risen, and so am I. Anyway, I adore that she's just like, April 20th, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, right. I always loved Farrah the mostest. Like, she was closest to my heart. Mm-hmm. This moment, Poppy takes the cake.
Locked, absolutely. She
is fierce. She is a little thick. She's got her own power and just like empathy warrior, not actual empathy warrior, but like, you know. Yeah. And now 420 is the birthday. Hell yes.
Let's go.
Hell
girl.
Fucking yeah. Castile asks if she's been feeling hungry for blood, but she hasn't yet. So they will just have to wait and see, playing that wait and see game if she starts to feel the need to feed. Kieran arrives, so they can talk to him about being their advisor. He enters the room and immediately thinks they want to talk about the joining. We wish! It's so funny. He walks in and they're just like, we have to talk to you about something. He's like, oh yeah, the joining, right?
Joining?
And they're just like, no. And for once, it's not Poppy that is putting herself in that scenario.
I do love that they're all like tossing it around though.
Oh my God, it's such a hot topic that no one wants to talk about. I'm so upset. But yeah, we wish, but unfortunately no. Yeah. Kieran accepts that, their request to be, his advice, or for him to be their advisor. And it's a very sweet moment. He's genuinely surprised that they didn't ask someone, I don't know, like his father, which, yeah, same. We're literally the same. Like, he doesn't have any experience doing this, like, other than growing up around it with Castile. Mm-hmm. And they pretty much say, well, it's good enough for us. Like, yeah, dude. I was like, all right.
I do love that Poppy and Castile are just like, nah, we're winging it. We rule now. Like,
yeah. Yep. Poppy puts two and two together with the realization that they are trying to recruit the ones who guard Nykdos's resting place. Yes, Poppy, that's correct. We've heard who guards Nykdos's resting place, the Draken. Mm-hmm. So, Poppy needs a bath to think over all this lore. Like, she's starting to forget things. She hasn't been able to have a contemplative bath in quite a while, and it's showing,
It is. It is.
But, can't blame her. There's been a lot going on. Right. But yeah, so they gotta wake the Draken. Good luck with that. Okay. Strapped up and ready for their adventure, the party contains Poppy, Cass, Kieran, Netta, Emil, and Delano, that core adventuring party that we've had for a little while now. Mm-hmm. Walking through the darkness because the entrance to Elysium is under like the tunnels where, if we remember, Castiel, Kieran, and Malik used to play, and that's how they get into Elysium. So they are walking through the tunnels in the darkness, and Castiel tells Poppy, man, I wish I brought the diary to pass the time. Castiel, oh my God, dude. Come on, bro. But out of nowhere, the floor gives out, and Netta falls into it.
Yeah, they're just talking about the sex book, and then...
Bye! Thankfully, Emil is there and catches her, and they're all gonna fall in if they don't get out. Mm-hmm. Poppy's like, hey, I wonder if I can use my magic in, like, telepathy, essentially. And so she pictures her magic, like... And in this moment, she's internally being like, don't break any bones, don't break any bones, don't break any bones. Yeah. She's like, gently lift, yeah. Don't break any bones.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather.
Yep. So, like, she orders the magic to work this way, and it does, and they're all safe again. Netta's like, did you know that was gonna work? And Poppy's like, she's
I
like,
need to do that.
okay. So it's like a very scary moment in that time. But thankfully all is well. They encounter the mist. So at this point, Poppy takes the lead and touches it, and since it recognizes her blood, it retracts and kind of disappears so they can pass safely. Next, Poppy crawls through a small opening in a tunnel, and I was just like, ha! Spelunking, not for me. Panic attack would have immediately been initiated.
Oh, yeah. No way.
She eventually exits the tunnel and steps into Elysium. The pale blue sky is laid out over a warm landscape that smells of lilacs. As they all kind of enter, the rest of them come through the tunnel, and the ground starts to tremble and then stops. So it's like, oh, what was that? Little earthquake?
Little sus.
Along the path are thousands of huge shadowstone statues of women with wings. And with all of them, though, like, all of them through, the company begins walking, along the path of all these, statues. But then the ground starts to shake and then starts to crack all around them. From the cracks, skeleton hands start to come up and breach the surface. And oh yeah, they're also armed. Poppy then remembers her vision. And she saw that woman with white hair when she thrusts her hands into the dirt, and we got to see skeletons coming out of the ground. So she is now thinking, oh, these are the consort's soldiers, essentially. So more and more cracks open, but this time they're now releasing snakes as well.
Oh,
and Poppy's like, why did it have to be snakes?
The fuck?
Poppy summons her magic to try to put a stop to the skeletons, but they howl at her as she calls upon her magic. Okay.
God.
Once again, she shoots silver fire from her hands and burns them all. Castile calls her queen of his heart and then starts to kiss her. Hell yeah. Netta makes a comment about it being awkward, and Kieran replies, they do this all the time, that you'll get used to it. Oh my god. They now look upon Delos, and they're like, oh yeah, don't go in there. So It's really pretty, and they would love to see it, but they turn tail, and they're like, nope, not today. They then notice and look down, and notice that they are walking on diamonds. And the diamonds are made from tears of gods when they're, in love. So when a god cries out of love for another, they create diamonds. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
You want to just
next level dedication?
Yeah. Castile, this is you still got to get Poppy her ring. Look around you.
Yeah.
Pick one up, bro.
That's right.
Arriving at the Temple of Nyktos now, they see a huge statue of a dragon that is asleep in front of it, and then standing guard at the entrance. Emil makes a joke about running if that statue even just moves a little bit. And it's like, yeah, this thing is fucking huge. So don't blame you. And, Poppy has to touch, of course, because she's a toque at heart, just like myself, just like Pippin. She's gotta touch and turn the arrow, which causes the thing to fall into the well, and then Gandalf's dead, She notices that the stone is actually warm underneath, and then Castile pulls her hand away. He's like, let's not touch stuff. How about that? It's like, yeah, good idea. But that's unfortunately too late, because the stone starts to crack and reveal the grayish, scaly skin beneath, and a bright blue eye staring back at them. Ruh-roh! First it growls, so it's... The dragon is awake, and the stone is crumbling away from it. And it growls and swings its head to look at Poppy, who is simply in awe of it. Fascinating. She's fascinated, but also terrified. And then it starts to smell her, and it doesn't attack her, but instead seems to calm down. Then its gaze kind of shifts over to the temple, and they all turn with it and see a man standing there who is taller than Castile. He has auburn hair about to the shoulders. He is overall beautiful, but has a very cold demeanor in his eye. Enter Nyktos, king of the gods.
Fucking Nyktos.
Okay.
In the flesh, and we have a motherfucking Draken.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
What?
It's just one after the other immediately. Because, like, yeah, we went to wake up the guards. We did not expect to talk to Nyktos, okay? Like, what?
Okay.
Nyktos finds it very interesting that they were able to wake Nyctus and live, which means they are his blood. But only Poppy, we know, is of his blood. So it's like, okay. He has seen, Poppy and Castile at their wedding, he says. He's like, oh, yes, I recognize you. I gave you their blessing.
Yeah.
And he's kind of salty about getting woken up, which, like, can't blame him. He's like, I gave you a blessing on your wedding day, and you come here and wake me up from my nap?
Come into my house.
He starts threatening to kill one of them for the intrusion and disrespect, because it's like, this is not just like your run-of-the-mill, like, king or queen. This is king of the gods.
King of the gods. And they just walked in uninvited.
Yeah. And just, like, poked him in the head, be like, are you awake?
Yeah.
It's like,
hello.
That's not really the greatest. Oh.
Yeah.
And then Castile stands in front of Poppy, and then Poppy sidesteps Castile. Without warning, she sees, like, a flash of the consort and says with her words, I will not let you harm him or any of my friends. With that, Nyktos kind of like, and then invites her into the temple. He's like, nope, just you. You're the only one. The rest of you are going to be guarded by Nyctus, actually. And he didn't just wake up, though. She woke him up some time ago. So, like, okay, so you're just a salty little bitch, then. It has nothing to do with you getting woken up in this moment.
Right, right.
You're just very, yeah, he's a god. He's used to everyone bowing at his beck and call. Like, yeah.
What a peacock.
Checks out. So why and how did Poppy wake him all that time ago? Don't know. Hope we find out. The consort still sleeps, but other gods have kind of started to wake up. Ios, for instance, was indeed in the Blood Forest and saved her from walking off that cliff in the last book. And now we're gonna get another lore alert.
Lore alert! Let's go.
Time to talk about gods and primals. Primals, that's new. The gods were not the first gods. Before them, there were primals, the ones who created the world. They eventually became twisted and corrupt, like the deities to follow, and ending the primals ended most life in mortal lands and essentially sent the mortal lands back to the Dark Ages. It's interesting that she uses specifically she uses it like Dark Ages as like kind of what we refer to as Dark Ages, like no technology, all that jazz, because we keep forgetting Atlantia has technology. Right. In a sense, like they have electricity at the very least. So essentially, killing the primals sent them decades back in time, essentially. Mortals, of course, then became a bit scared of the gods because the gods killed off the primals, and so they entered a blood treaty. Only gods born within the mortal realm could retain their powers there. And so after this blood treaty essentially says, any gods that are in Elysium, you can't come into the mortal realm without giving up your godly powers. But if a god like is born in the mortal realm, they can still use their powers there and travel back and forth.
Yeah.
So that's why the gods have not intervened all these years. Because if they were to try to go into the mortal realm and try to help, they would be like as weak as any mortal there, pretty much. Like they have no powers. And it's like, oh wow, so that just goes to show you that the gods essentially relied just on their power and not their physical fighting. So they're like the opposite of what Poppy is, because Poppy not only now has the added benefit of her powers, but she knows how to defend herself without them as well. So it's like it puts them at a very large deficit for being able to actually help. And that's also why his consort sleeps. Nyktos is a primal, we find out.
Oh, fuck.
Not just a god, a primal. So Poppy does not have the blood of gods. She has the blood of primals.
Primal fucking blood.
What?
This is like everything that we know is a lie.
Full more reveals, one after the other, after the other, after the other.
Holy crap.
Poppy tells him that they need his guards' help due to the revenants, which gets his attention. He's like, revenants, you say? And with that, he just simply ushers her out And then she's like, but what about the guards? And he tells her that what she seeks, she already has. The power was always within her.
Okay, that is elusive as fuck.
All right, cryptic. So
that
we're now
does
back at the
nothing.
palace. It does nothing.
That does nothing.
We're now back at the palace, and Poppy is wandering around, going over it all. It's like, girl, you got a big-ass tub to think this over in. Get in that tub.
Get in the bath. Get in the water.
And so in the days since their return from Elysium, they have been booked and busy, and Poppy and Castiel have really only gotten time for themselves at night. And he tells her that while he was committed to becoming the commander, he always had a passion for farming. So it's like, oh, that connects back to what he told her when he was Hawk, that his father used to be a farmer, which is like not 100% true, but like he had that passion himself though. So no. While wandering one day, she bumps into Lord Gregory and a beautiful woven woman that she has not met before. Gregory gives her attitude because he's a little fucking bitch and he better pay for it. The woman says that she's looking for Kieran and introduces herself as Gianna. As in the Gianna that Cass was supposed to marry. And she called him Cass.
Oh, no, she did not. Let's fucking... If I had
Poppy,
earrings, I'd be pulling them out.
Oh, yeah. She's like, you calling my man his name? What?
Yeah. What?
By his nickname, should say.
Are you new here?
Yeah. Thankfully, Gianna is chill. Poppy. Poppy playfully threatens her, saying if she shows an interest in Castiel, Poppy will have her torn apart limb by limb. Damn, girl, you jealous?
She knows no gray area. She says,
and it's just so funny because she tries to do it in such like a, oh, like if you try to flirt with him, I'll kill you.
I'm gonna dismember you.
It's like, Poppy, you're a queen now. You can actually have that done. You can't just be throwing around things like that.
That's right.
Castiel says he wants to fuck her on the table after a meeting. You know, they meet back up later. But unfortunately, they have a meeting. It's like, no. But they have to discuss what to do with the blood crown. So, discuss the meeting that's about to go down with the blood crown. So they're going to go in two groups. The larger of the two groups is going to leave earlier, get to the gates, secure their position in Oak Ambler. So that will consist of Lyra, Emil, Nail, and Venetta, as well as other people, other guards and things with them. But 4 of them will come by sea, 4 of them being Poppy, Castiel, Kieran, and Delano. And they're going to be going in an unexpected way. So instead of going by land, they will go by sea because it's not commonly used, because it's like treacherous to an extent, not like deadly, but you know, it's longer as well, I believe. Yeah. I think it's a little bit longer. If the blood crown, and you know, they further discuss, if the blood crown does not agree with their terms, war will likely start. But it will start without their king and queen. Poppy knows that she is walking out of this meeting and killing Jalara and Ileana. They are not surviving. And it's like, fuck yeah.
Ooh, let's go.
Let's go. Q. I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. Everybody look at me because I'm sailing on a boat. So, unfortunately, Poppy's not having a great time, though. She's got a lot of seasickness, which, relatable. I can't go on cruises either. Kieran says, if nothing else has worked, like, he's like, oh, have you tried just looking at one spot? Have you tried looking at the horizon? Have you tried this, that? She's like, I've done it all, Kieran. We are days into this, and I'm still fucking sick. She's like, he's like, well, you'll have to get distracted somehow. And as if he were called by some unknown force, Castiel appears. He's like, distraction? What? We are not surprised. He's like, I'll take care of it.
I got you.
Karen's like, all right. So he walks her back to their cabin, and once inside, he picks her up and places her on the desk, and then sits in the chair in front of her, which is hot. Also worth noting, every piece of furniture is nailed down in this cabin so that when the boat is shifting, none of the furniture is not swaying all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not moving. He takes off her boots and her socks, and she mentions, like, not even you are about to be able to take away this swaying feeling right now. Like, I don't think anything is going to work, Castiel. And he's like, I take offense to that. How dare you doubt me? And he says he's hungry. Not for food, though. He's like, hey, remember how I said I wanted to fuck you on that desk in the other chapter? You're on a desk right now. So he's like, I'm going to fuck you on this desk. And he says, lift your ass, my queen.
Oh.
Good Lord.
You don't have to tell me twice.
There's something about just that. The lift your ass really just gets me.
Just does something, yeah.
She does, because obviously. And he removes her undergarments. Breeches, and then takes off her shirt. Next, he takes out her braid. And she's like, you better be putting that back in later. It took me a lot of time to do that. And he's like, I'll rebraid it. And that gets me going. Like, something about a person, like, knowing how to braid their partner's hair.
Yeah.
It's, like, so intimate. And I think it's also just a thing of, like, men knowing how to braid is so rare. And it's such, like, it shouldn't be, but it's such, like, a contrast as to, like, the typical masculinity, all that toxic masculinity bullshit that we have to deal with every day. So, like, just the fact that he's like, yeah, I know how to braid hair. And it's just like, oh, yeah.
Taking the time to be intimate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also now I just want to see Castiel with braids. So.
Oh my God.
There's that.
That'd be amazing.
Back to the hotness. He pushes her slip up to her hips and then spreads her legs. He comments about her being dinner and then says the best thing to pair with dinner is a good book. Guess what he remembered to pack?
Fucking Willa Collins' diary.
Oh, the diary. Castiel simply tells her, like, just pick a page. Doesn't matter what you want. I just want you to read to me while I feast on you.
God. I need a fan.
I do too. I'm getting
red.
hot.
I can see my neck.
Just like, he finds more and more ways to fuck and make it different.
Every
and
time.
That being JLA, obviously. But, like,
yes.
We just cannot get enough. And because it's like, all right, yep, he's gonna eat her out again. We've seen this before, but it's still different.
Every interaction is different. Every single one.
Mm-hmm. He calls this his appetizer as well. And then Poppy, the page that she's picked, or I guess opened to, she reads about a man that's jerking himself off, and Castiel eats her out and then drinks from her at the same time. And as we've discussed before,
yeah,
I'm good, but happy for you, girl.
Do you, girl?
Happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
She finishes, and he repositions himself, now standing in front of her, and he tells her, I just want you to know one thing. I'm still in complete control. Oh, God. I so desperately need to know what out of control looks like.
Yeah, like, come on.
So bad.
Come on, put on some Missy Elliott. Make you lose control.
JLA, please. Please give us the uncontrol. Please.
Give it to us. Give it to us.
So they fuck. While he drinks from her boob. And, like, I'm not for the clit drinking, but titties, all bets are off. Go for it. Feast. And then he bites his own wrist so that she can drink from him. And she does. So it's like, not only are they, like, drowning in each other's, like, you know, arousal, as much as we hate that word.
I was gonna say fluids.
Like, honestly, like, fluids better. So yeah, like, while they're kind of drowning in that, and then, like, the euphoria they get from the drinking of the blood and the heat from it, but they're also kind of, like, powering up for the potential fight as well. It's like, oh, need a little pick-me-up, time to, like, sucky suck on some blood. And yeah, that scene's real hot. So yeah, needless to say, he succeeds in distracting her. And they cut to later. They are still resting in bed. Also, mind you, I didn't write this in the notes, but I need to make a point to say they fuck for the rest of the time until they end up in Oak Ambler.
Yeah.
Like the next few days that they are still on the ocean, they are just fucking.
Pure fucking. And now I have that Peaches song, sucking on my titties like you wanna be calling me all the time.
So they are resting in bed, and Castile tells her why he loves it when she calls him that. Calls him Cass. So hearing Kieran or his mother call him that nickname was the only thing that pulled him back when he was starving, used and abused by the Ascended. So as they were starving him and turning him into that monster that Atlanteans become when they're starved for blood, remembering Kieran and his mom calling him Cass brought him back. So her calling him Cass reminds him that he's real, and we cry. Ugh. As said, the two of them just fuck the rest of the sea journey to Oak Ambler. They arrive a couple days before they are expected by the Blood Crown. Perry also sailed with them and offers to hang back for assistance, but they're like, nope, you sail home. He asks that they look after Delano. Like, Perry's like, hey, just, like, look after Delano, because he can sometimes be too brave. First of all, don't like that.
Yeah.
Second of all, Perry and Delano are together, and it's adorable.
It is. It's so sweet.
We have our first LGBTQ couple of the series.
Yes, we do.
And nothing better fucking happened to them.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. I'll fucking burn shit down.
Oh, they meet with, but it's adorable.
It's fucking
Land
cute.
on that. It's so cute.
Don't piss me off.
Poppy and Cass meet with Kieran and Delano, and they all have like their caps with their capes on, and once again, very Marvel disguise.
Yeah.
The Rise here is damaged. They find out that it is due to an earthquake that happened about a month ago. Okay. And it was felt all the way in Carcedonia. It's like an earthquake. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think timeline-wise how long ago that would have paired up with Poppy and her journey.
Well, I mean, I always assume that I assume that that's what it was.
Okay.
I mean, we don't find out confirming, I don't believe, but I think they do. I think they call it into question. It's like, oh, I feel like that might line up with. It's
like a possible lore nugget.
Enter the Rise through a crack in the foundation and venture into the dark hallways beneath the castle. Making their way through, they spot a cage with bleached bars and a large gray cat inside. The cat also has bright green eyes. And Poppy is like, that's just like the one that I saw when I was a kid. The one that they all told her that she couldn't have possibly seen because they're extinct.
And now it's here.
And then, boom, there it is. She also feels drawn to it and kneels in front of the cage and reaches out to touch it. Once again, why are we touching things, Poppy? Don't touch things.
Oh, the curiosity.
Yes. The cave cat, however, is behaving very calmly towards her, so it's not like about to snap and tear her arm off. The cat starts to glow and transforms into a red-headed man with green eyes. But as fast as he appears human, he's once again a cat.
What?
It's like, what the fuck was that?
Fucking Animorphs.
Yeah, like, okay. They have to leave him behind. Poppy's like, no, we have to get him out of here. And they're like, we are going to get Malik. We are not going to be able to bring him and Malik. Like, we'll come back for them. Also, the cage is made of deity bones. So, like, they're not getting through those anyway. Yeah. So, the thought strikes Poppy. Like, could Malik change forms? And Cass says no. And they move on. Continuing through the halls and making their way into the castle, they encounter a woman with slicked back hair pulled into a braid who is armed with two crescent-shaped swords, which it's like, badass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Faster than they can process, she has Delano in her grasp under knife point. Stay calm. We just said you better not do anything to them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
She is a handmaiden. But for now, she is an escort. Unfortunately, they are surrounded. It's revealed that the Ascended caught the other party coming by land, and, the other party waits for them in the castle. So, like, plan foiled. They never had the, surprise that they were hoping for. Ian is also here to ensure a smooth and uneventful escorting.
Okay.
So, Vanetta, Emil, Lyra, Heisa, and Nail are all there, including one other, Tawny. And she's not Ascended.
Woo! There is a silver lining!
Oh my god. And it's like the most shallow breath of relief that you could possibly take.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, oh, thank God she's not Ascended, but she's still here.
Right, right. I'm nervous. What the fuck's going on?
Introducing the terrible Queen Ileana. Oh, no. Not only her. Malik is here too. Gang's all here.
Fuck.
Unfortunately, he does not appear starving nor captive. He looks well and is quite brainwashed. He is fully on their side. Like, he sides with the Blood Queen and claims that she has opened his eyes to the truth. Oh no. Ileana goes on and on trying to throw all of them off and push all their buttons, asking Poppy if she's joined with the Wolven yet. And Poppy's like, I actually bonded to all of them. And it's like, yeah, you thought you were gonna do that? Actually, no, I didn't join with him. I am bonded to all of the Wolven, though.
She said, Uno reverse, bitch.
Ileana reveals her original plan, that Poppy would have married Malik to become the queen, not Castile. Like, that was her plan. So when she kind of talks about, like, oh, this is what I always wanted anyway. Thanks for making it easy for me. It's like, oh, that's why, because she wanted to force her into a marriage with Malik. Okay.
It's all coming together.
Malik says that he would have been her, quote, ascension, and implies sleeping with her, as he would have ascended her in body as well. And that causes Castile to absolutely explode, trying to get at him, but Kieran stops him. Once they've calmed down a little bit, they begin talks about the Ascended's future. And then Ileana lays it all out for them. Exactly the ultimatum they had planned to deliver to her. She's like, oh, let me guess. You want A, B, and C, or you're gonna kill us all, right? Yeah. And they're just like, yes? What? How did you know this? How did you know this? Guess who? Guess who's coming back again? Fucking Alistair!
No! I refuse. I refuse.
He's fucking asshat. He's ruining everything. Everything. He told them literally everything. He told them their plan. And she has a plan of her own. So her plan is that they can remain in Atlantia, but swear allegiance to her. Lords and ladies would be welcome to cross the borders whenever they please, because the lands would be hers, technically. She also wants the former king and queen to be tried for treason, which essentially means be put to death in no certain terms. They can try to fight the war, but Ileana believes that she will win. And her handmaiden starts to approach Ileana. Now, we're going to learn a bit about revenants. So, lore alert.
Lore alert.
Revenants are, quote, a very old thing that fell out of favor all the way back when the gods walked among man. They are faster and stronger than any Atlantean, and are born to be exceptionally trained fighters good for one thing: killing. They are not immortal, but something else entirely. They are born the third sons and daughters of two mortal parents. This is what has been happening to some of them. So, like, you know how we were all confused about the time span for when third sons and daughters or second sons and daughters are given to their right and when this all happens. Now we're getting some clarification on that. Like, not all of the third sons and daughters are turned revenant, but most of them, or at least some of them. In order for the revenant to be created, it requires the blood of a king in the smallest terms. So a knight walks up and stabs the handmaiden in the heart. And we also notice that Malik appears to, like, kind of resist lunging and making a move like to this, but we quickly move on from it. So the handmaiden's now dead. It's like, wow, that's really fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
And it's also worth noting that Poppy feels like a slight twinge of her emotions, and it's like sorrow. She's like just defeated by this.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on there? The Revenant handmaiden comes back to life. So they always will come back if you try to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Ileana had the blood of a destined king until Castile took the throne. So they either need the blood of a current king or destined king. And so that's why having Malik around, that's what he was being used for. It was to make these revenants, probably among many other things. Remember how the Dutch-ass Tierman told Poppy that Ileana was her grandmother? Time for another reveal. Nah, she's her mom.
The fuck?
And Ileana is not a vampire, which is why she was able to birth her. So what the fuck are you? So Poppy's mom, Cora, knew Ileana's plans because she was a handmaiden. So her and Leopold, Poppy's father, tried to smuggle Poppy out and save her. They were Ian's parents. So they are Ian's biological parents. And we are now starting to learn, they essentially just took Poppy in.
Yeah.
As like an adoptive child, essentially. Cora, in fact, did survive the Craven attack since she was a revenant, but Ileana did end up ending her. So there is a way to kill them, but also she was a revenant this whole time? Oh my god.
A lot.
So much. And like, oh yeah, want another surprise? No? Well, too bad. The first name I was born with is one you've probably heard. It was Isbeth.
Fuck. This whole section is just constant. What the fuck? What the fuck? It just does not stop.
Just the whole time. The whole time. They're coming fast and furious. We've got another lore alert. Another one. Isbeth, the real deal. History lesson. Iluana poisoned her with belladonna. The porn star? No. Malek found her, so found Isbeth, on the brink of death after being poisoned, and gave her his blood, but she did not turn into a vampire. Instead, when deities ascend immortal, they become something like a vampire, but without the limitations. So essentially, she can walk in the sun without crumbling, is pretty much like the one main perk of this. Malek was also a god, not a deity. Okay, he just hid his true self. He lied because he got tired of being held in Elysium while later generations' children were able to leave and explore. So he was jealous that he couldn't leave, Elysium, which it's like, that's a tough spot to be in, but like, okay. So he pretended to be something else and was able to sneak out. Nyktos' children were born in the mortal realm, just as his consort was. So, we have another thing about the consort. She was also born in the mortal realm. Okay. Isbeth believes, since a god ascended her, that makes her one, even though we know that gods can only be born, not created. So, like, bitch, cocky ass bitch.
Her and Malik are both, like, wanting what they can't have.
At the start of the war, Malek snuck her out of Atlantia, but she had to go alone because he could not leave. And she also couldn't bring her son. So her and Malek had a son, and he was like Poppy. After years, she met Jalara, who was gathering his forces against the Atlanteans, and she just had to find out what happened to her son. So she kind of reveals herself, and when she arrived in Pompeii with Jalara, she saw King Valen now leading the armies and claims that's how she knew that they had captured Malek and her son had been gone for a long time. So, like, it took me a couple of reads over this section to try to understand how she put two and two together. I honestly still don't. So I'm like, so you have just been assuming this whole time that just because you saw Valen leading armies, that's how you knew that Malek and your son were gone. Like that part I was like very confused at.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just dumb and missing something. So I'm like, I'm not gonna read too much into it, but I'm like, okay.
But
So
I'm sure down the line it'll come back into play somehow.
yeah, fingers crossed. So essentially, she's done all this for just revenge against Iluana. And wars have been started by men for the same reason. So, like, who are we to judge? You know? It's like, okay, might we, granted, I'm not a history major. I only know it in context of the movies, and I know movies are not 100% truth. But I think about Troy and the movie Troy and how they pretty much went to battle over a woman who chose to leave the man that she was supposed to marry and go with this other guy. And it's like, a woman can do whatever the fuck she wants. Why are you starting a war over this? So that's essentially what Isbeth is doing with the Atlanteans. She's like, you killed my love and my son, so I'm gonna go to war with you. It's like, okay, not sure what, like I said, not sure why we're assuming that her son and Malek are gone, but like, I'm sure we'll find out more about this. Atlantean royalty was built on blood, same as the Ascended, which it's like, we kind of understand at this point. We found that out. Iluana was very upfront with that.
Yeah.
So tensions start to get a little tight, and Isbeth calls Castile a pretty accessory. And he says he's also a very deadly accessory, to which she replies she remembers. And we need her dead. Dead.
Like stat. This whole conversation just made my skin crawl so much.
She is so evil and conniving. Isbeth then calls out an order. Simply kill him.
Excuse me?
Poppy immediately moves to get in front of Castile, but no attack comes for them. Instead, a knight steps up behind Ian and decapitates him.
The fuck? Oh my
Ian,
God.
we barely knew you. What the fuck? Oh my God.
The first time I read this, I was reading in Amryn's and I flipped myself back out of my chair because
it's shocking.
It's very shocking. We just got him. We got him halfway through this book.
We barely knew him.
And now his head is on the floor.
And then Isbeth has the gall to say, look what you made me do. I fucking can't stand when villains and people try to pull this shit.
Oh, I
where
know.
It's like, look what you just made me do. It's like, you what? Oh, you gave me no choice. I hate that shit with a seething, burning rage. So
my hand just flung the knife. Look at that.
Oh wow. Poppy now sees red, and starts to go on the attack, on the offensive. But Isbeth knows more, and she simply laughs at the effort. And then Vader grabs her and force chokes her while she starts to snap Lyra's woven body. So Poppy is kind of thinking through all of the things that she's about to do to Isbeth as she walks towards her and tries to unleash her power. And Isbeth essentially just takes all that and is like, okay, and starts doing that. And so she starts to snap Lyra's body, and it's like, oh my God. Then Isbeth turns her sights back on Poppy and Poppy describes it as physically clawing and tearing layers through her mind with her power, just like Poppy wanted to do to her. So Castile starts to panic and says he will do anything to stop, because now Poppy is bleeding from her ears, bleeding from her nose. She is clearly dying. Then he does the thing that we absolutely do not want him to do, and he offers himself. He says, I will take me and stop torturing her. And then Poppy passes out. She wakes later to Kieran over her. Delano and Emil are close by, and Tawny is thankfully alive, but she was pretty badly wounded. Unfortunately, Lyra did not make it. R.I.P. Lyra.
Homage to you, girl.
And Castile's gone. But we do remember this time to check that imprint.
We do.
It is still there.
Thank God.
But yeah, Isbeth took him back with Malik.
Gone.
Malik actually took him. And, like, so Poppy would like to rage. And she does.
Yes, she does.
She lets out the most guttural scream into the sky. She starts calling a lightning storm all around her. Her thoughts start to turn really dark. And she pictures the streets running with blood. Cities are decimated. She is coursing with power. And to the effect that she is starting to overturn and uproot entire trees around her. Vanetta and Kieran are in front of her. They are begging her to stop, and it's described that her power is like tearing away at their clothing as they stand in front of her, like, stop, Poppy, please. And it reminds me very much of the Dark Phoenix movie, the X-Men movie. As bad as it was, it reminds me of Wolverine going up to Jean at the very end when she's just unleashing her power, and it's like waves are just tearing bits and pieces off of him as he starts to regenerate. Like, oh my god, it's just so
This
fucking
entire
heartbreaking.
Scene. Yeah, and she's been deprived of everything her entire life. Now the one thing that has essentially given her life is gone. So this is just pure unbridled power and rage.
She then turns her sights on Oak Ambler, and she starts dismantling the rise, tearing down houses within. She hears the screams of the residents that are like starting to rise up, and then unpredictably, the handmaiden from before tells her to stop, and she's aiming a Shadowstone arrow at her. And it's like, it's not going to kill you, but it'll fuck you up.
Right.
Because she says the people in Oak Ambler are innocent. Like, they have nothing to do with what just happened. This is simply the location.
Yeah.
And because Poppy is doing all of the things that she swore not to do. It's making her just like the Ascended. Like, this is not who she is. So she starts to come to and realizing what she's doing and tones it back. She starts to pull herself back in. The handmaiden tells her that Isbeth would have taken Castile to the capital, but no one knows where she keeps her pets. We can tell that the handmaiden is not Isbeth's biggest fan, and she does welcome the final death whenever that is bestowed upon her. So we can tell that, like, the handmaiden has been killed many a time simply for show. And it reminded me a lot. I'm rewatching Outlander with my husband, and it reminded me a lot of when Dougal keeps ripping the shirt off of Jamie's back in season 1 to show the whipping scars, the lashes that he has. And it reminds me a lot of that, just like over and over and over again being used to demonstrate a strength or a motive or whatever. It's heartbreaking. The handmaiden tells them that they will need the fire of the gods to get Castile back, which, like, we've heard that before.
Yeah.
Tawny also is not doing too great. So Poppy was able to use some of her powers on her. But she is unfortunately in a coma, and so she's not waking up. Poppy quickly puts things together so she's a grandchild of Nyktos, daughter of Malek, both gods, which makes her a god. Whew. All right. She recalls what Nyktos had said. You always had the power in you. She can call the fire of the gods, the guardians of their resting places. She can call up the dragon.
Let's fucking go. Draken, mommy. Let's go.
Draken.
Let's go. First she's a wolven mommy. Now she's a Draken mommy. Let's go.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Arriving back in Avimon, Poppy is going to speak with Ilawana, and she is pissed because Ilawana knew what Isbeth was and who she was the whole time and could not have been bothered to warn them. Like, what the fuck is going on, girl? So Gregory decides to fucking peek his head in here and misaddresses her again. And so she immediately calls him out. And I love this line. She says, in the entirety of the 2 kingdoms, I couldn't give a fuck if you or any other member of the council likes me. It does not change that I am your queen. Hell yeah. She lets some of the ether loose, and, as she's correcting him, and then they all bow to her as they should. Like, fucking respect her, okay?
Yeah.
She orders all of them to leave because she has words for dearest mommy-in-law. So Poppy lays into her. Like, she forces Iluana to ask the questions herself. Like, where is Malik? Where is Castile? And Poppy's like, oh, your son that we thought was, a captive? Oh, he's alive. He's on their side, actually, first of all. And also at one point, Iluana, feeling all of the grief of this, she starts to like put her head in her hands, and Poppy's like, no.
Yep.
You're gonna look at me.
Yes.
You do not get to hide your face. And I'm just like, oh, yes.
Love that part. Yes.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
And Iluana eventually says, like, it's my fault. To which Poppy verbatim replies, no shit.
Right.
Yeah, no shit. Iluana kept Isbeth's identity secret from everyone but Valen and Alastair. Because fucking of course. Because she was embarrassed.
This entire interaction pissed me off so bad.
I was so heated reading this.
Too. I'm heated now. I want to punch her. I want to punch her in her stupid face.
If we remember from the previous couple of chapters, Isbeth and Malek had a son who was killed after Malek had Isbeth escape. Who killed them? Guess who? The child killer Alastair.
Fucking why not?
We are learning more and more how, like, just fucking deplorable of a human this man is, or was. Yeah. However, Valen has no idea about this child murder that happened off page. All right. So she's just secrets on secrets on secrets because she's embarrassed. And Poppy has decided, well, only option now is we're going to war, actually.
That's right.
So Poppy orders Hysa to send word to the Blood Crown that she will meet with them in the woods outside Oak Ambler at the end of next week. And she will only speak to Isbeth or the king. After a few hours, she has time to kind of sneak in a nap and recuperate a little bit. And now they're going back to Elysium, but it will only be her and Kieran. They have a moment asking one another if they're okay, and they both respond no. And it's heartbreaking. Like, they have no time to grieve what just happened. Granted, obviously, we know that Castile is not dead, but grieving the loss nonetheless.
Yeah. And
knowing what he's going through.
Right. And, this is another just little segment to where we get to see Poppy and Kieran's relationship and the depth of it. Like, they both love and care for Castile equally. And so they're going to have to lean on each other going into this. Yeah.
And it's also really nice and a full circle moment that Poppy, I feel like for the first time without further coercion, is fully admitting that she's not okay.
Yeah.
Because in the last book, Castile had to, like, ask her over and over and over, like, I know you're not okay. You don't have to pretend to be fine. Like, tell me what's going on. And so for her to just drop that completely.
Be like, no, I'm not okay.
Yeah. But the two of them, they're like, we're not okay, but we have things to do in order to get him back. And they put that over, their grief in this moment. And it's like, I so badly in that moment wanted them to have a scene to be able to do that together. But also it's like, they have shit that they have to do first.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Once again, we're kind of time skipping a little bit, fast travel. They are back at the temple in Elysium, and we see now Nyctos is in his mortal form, and he explains that Nyctos has gone back to sleep with his consort. Speaking with Nyctos, Poppy makes it clear that she is ready, and in return for the Draken's aid, they require her help in returning Malek. Not Malik, Malek, the lost god.
Yep.
Huh? Nyctos also drops little nuggets of lore here. Malek has a twin named Iris, and he's actually Poppy's father.
Okay. This tree. Okay.
What the fuck?
Okay.
What the fuck?
Great. Okay, great. Let's go.
So, hey, guess what? You thought we were done? Nope.
No.
We have another lore alert. Oh, boy. Because JLA can't end a book without fucking dumping on us like this.
This is fucking info dump city. Good
Insane.
Lord. Jesus.
So, Iris is Poppy's bio dad.
All
Not
right.
Malek.
Okay.
So Iris was lured into the mortal realm with Nectus's daughter named Jadis, while Nectus and the gods slept. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Iris could also change forms, preferring that of a large cat, like Malek. Interesting. Was it Iris who they saw in the tunnels? I assume yes, but
maybe
we have literally no idea.
Might be.
Poppy calls on the Draken to officially waken them.
Let's go.
Dozens.
Let's fucking go.
Start to rise up and fly all over the place.
Yeah.
It is so badass. Chapter 50. I have not been saying what chapters we're in, but we are in chapter 50, the last chapter.
Last chapter.
Poppy is talking to Tawny to try to, like, get her to wake up a little bit, telling her that, like, Poppy, there's Draken here. Like, you said you always wanted to see a Draken, like, actual Draken.
It's a big deal.
Right out here. You gotta wake up, girl. It's like when Grey's Anatomy, heartbreaking, when Sloane is in his coma and Callie's sitting next to him and she's just like, oh, Mark, oh, my shirt's off and my boobs are out. And you're just like, well, if that didn't wake him up, nothing's gonna.
Rachel lore. I've never seen Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, spoiler alert.
It's okay. That's all right.
Well, if you ever choose to, there's plenty to hurt your heart.
Yeah.
I recommend The Pit. I will say that
Mm-hmm.
strongly. If anyone likes a medical drama out there, The Pit on HBO
Okay.
is
okay.
fucking amazing.
I will check that out for sure.
So to get an update on what Tawny's kind of looking like, her hair is actually turned white. But she is doing slightly better. So Willa had called in a healer to kind of help, move things along and try to get her back. But unfortunately, she is still sleeping. But she's in better condition, at least. She's not, struggling to breathe or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're now leaving for the meeting with the Blood Crown, and Valen is seeing them off. Poppy now wears her crown because she felt it felt right. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Valen asks her for a favor. If she can please make Malek's death swift and painless if she sees him before he does.
Hard.
So hard. The army of Atlantia marches to the west with the Draken flying overhead with them. And 4 days later, Poppy and the Wolven with her arrive at Oak Ambler for the meeting. So Poppy is with some Wolven here. A couple of Draken have also come with them, including one named Reaver, who almost bit Kieran a few days ago because Kieran simply got too close while the Draken was having a snooze. So we don't go into detail, but Kieran has like a little bit of a fun little back and forth with Poppy about Reaver, and it's funny.
Yeah.
So they're having some what's the right way to describe it? They're having some little growing pains with their party growing and acclimating to these large ass dragons that they're
I was
now
gonna say
with.
Brand new species coming in and figuring out the pecking order of everything.
Yeah. The Ascended have now arrived, and they've brought knights and what she assumes is a revenant. However, Isbeth has sent King Jalara, who is a blonde man, so and he is here for the meeting. And Poppy's like, I take offense to this, actually. Send someone who's so weak to deal with me. Kind of an insult. And Jalara makes his dumb comments, but Poppy reveals no hint of emotion whatsoever and tells him she came to send a message. But he misunderstands. He won't be delivering the message. He is the message. And then she decapitates him. Was not expecting this. This is the last few pages of the book.
I
was like, oh, fuck. This was wild. The Wolven appear and a fight ensues. She kills each knight and Ascended, and she's cracking their bones. Clearly, we're understanding she's got a style that she likes to sit with here. And the Revenant underestimates her, and she pulls we have a Hulk. So essentially, the Revenant comes up to her and is just like, you think you can destroy us? Nothing can kill a Revenant. And she goes, we have a Hulk. And swoops Reaver and just lands and whips his tail out, whacking the Revenant. And it's described by JLA as a fleshy smack against the wall. And I can hear it now.
It's very like cat-coded behavior, just like boop.
Yeah, very swatting, yeah. Poppy tells the Revenant that he is to tell Isbeth what has happened here and deliver Jalara's head. Poppy will be keeping his crown. And I will leave you with this final quote. Go for it, Queen.
Make sure she knows that I am the chosen, the one who is blessed, and I carry the blood of the King of Gods in me. I am the Lisa to the Wolven, the second daughter, the true heir, owed the crowns of Atlantia and Solus. I am the Queen of Flesh and Fire, and the Gods' guards ride with me. Tell the Blood Queen to prepare for war.
Yes, and it is ended.
Oh my God.
Like I said at the beginning of this, I have never felt more devastated, hyped, and scared at the end of a book, because we are pumped, because what a fucking end of the book. Like, taking his head off? Are you kidding me? Like, that alone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
that's the end of the book.
The whole rage that she wakes up in, going through the city, everything about the end of the book. I'm just like, and it was very full circle, because at the end of Flesh and Fire, she's using her power in the temple and surrounded by these people that she's killed. And now at the end of this book, she's used her power and chopped off the king's head. So,
oh yeah, off with his head.
Yeah.
So, JLA, we just want to talk. But honestly, we would love to chat with you about like anything from Blood and Ash, Flesh and Fire, because we're in awe of your mind and think you're a genius. Castile is captured again by the same awful, terrible woman that we now know is Isbeth. And not only is she Isbeth, but she's Poppy's mother. So he's being tortured by his monster-in-law. Like, she woke up dragons. Dragons! Our Khaleesi! Our Mea like, ultimate baddie, continues to get more and more badass, and I'm so obsessed with her. I fucking love her. And yeah, we also, glaze over, if in case anyone forgot, we met the Willa Collins.
The one and only.
And we meet and lose Ian in a matter of chapters, also.
Yeah.
Reaver also didn't mention this. He breathes silver flames.
Fucking badass.
Just so you fucking know.
And also, Malak is alive.
Yeah, Malak is alive. Malek is alive. Both of them. Let's see. Poppy's father isn't Malek, but is Iris, who is also alive, and we likely saw him in a cage earlier. Probably makes sense why she was so drawn to him. Just before we yap on any longer, it's time for one of our favorite parts of this podcast. It's time for some fan art. Yeah. So first up, we have a couple of new artists that we haven't used before, I believe. So we have at gonzalam.art, and we have Poppy sitting on her throne with Castile and Kieran by her side. Granted, she doesn't have her crown on, nothing like that, but like just the fact that she's on the throne, just it's lovely, and they're just looking so stoic next to her. I love this piece of art. Next is a return artist that we've seen before, at theclever.crow, and this is Poppy, Kieran, and Castile looking like the badasses they are. And if we notice, Poppy is holding on to that gilded crown. We've also got a peek of her dagger. Like, I love the little slit in her dress showing some leg. She's also appropriately curvy in this art, which I fucking love to see.
Love it.
The three of them look so good together. They are drawn.
They're the perfect
delightfully.
Trio.
They really are.
Trio, yeah.
And the last, we want to give a solo moment for our girl Poppy, and this is by at Art by Artemis. And it's just like, I love the regalness of this art. It's a very different style, and we get her in her crown, but she's also got the big poofy red cape on, and just ultimate queen look here. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. We love it all. I will say, I'm hoping it's going to be the next episode as a little teaser. I'm really hoping I can include some steamy art next one, because I found some real steamy, good-looking art of our characters. I had to refrain from including them here because, I mean, it seems like we don't get a lot. We got only 2 very short smut scenes the second half of this book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not the time to bring out the smuttiness. So we'll wait and see. Maybe the next couple episodes, depending on where we go with that. But wait, now comes an exciting but also upsetting part, because it won't be the next episode.
It won't.
Because we are switching series for the first time.
We are.
We have to leave Castile with Isbeth for a little while.
We gotta put him on hold.
We gotta meet the characters of Flesh and Fire.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Next week, we will be beginning with A Shadow in the Ember, the first Flesh and Fire book. Brand new characters, brand new story, starting from scratch. Cannot wait to see what that series holds. We both have started reading this series. We've kind of done the tandem read, if you will, along here.
Yep.
And this series is good, y'all. This series is fucking good.
It is. You would think that with such an expansive list of books that you'd be like a little bit overwhelmed. No, we're about to set right off.
I love me some From Blood and Ash. Flesh and Fire, giving it a run for its money.
Yep.
Definitely. So we are super duper stoked to be able to bring that to you next. So fear not. Thankfully, it will only be 2 weeks before we get back to Castile, so it won't be that long. It won't be long. Aren't you so glad we're pouring 2.5 hours into episodes to give you half and half and not chapter chunks?
Not
Aren't
making
you so glad? Because we don't want to wait.
In the words of our wise den mother, we get to meet an entire new cast of characters.
So with that, it has been another blast of an episode. So much has happened. We are so sad to be leaving them, but happy to be meeting new friends here. So with that said, we will see you next time.